Minions 2 is hitting theaters just in time for July 4th. Is this a treat for the whole family, or will you find it to be a grueling experience? I'll let you know right now. Hello everybody and welcome to my review for Minions: The Rise of Gru, the second film in the Minions franchise, the fifth film featuring Minions if you include all of the Despicable Me movies. This movie's directed by Adam Balda. It's the first film featuring the Minions to not have Pierre Coffin, who is the voice actor for the Minions, as a director on the film. Matthew Fogel, who wrote the screenplay for Big Mamas, Like Father Like Son, is credited with the screenplay for this film, with story credit going to Minions writer Brian Lynch. And as I've said many times before, I give every movie its fair shot, but I think it's safe to say that I was not exactly looking forward to seeing this film because the other Despicable Me films I've somewhat enjoyed. The first two were fine. I didn't really like the third one, and I hated the first Minions movie. But you know, sometimes a movie can surprise you, and this movie did not do that. I was longing for the cold embrace of death long before the movie's credits rolled, or at least perhaps some kind of a neurological event that would render me unconscious for the rest of the movie's runtime, of course leaving my mental facilities unimpaired once I regained consciousness after the credits were done. Steve Carell returns to the franchise as the voice of Gru, which is very ironic because Steve Carell also voices my internal monologue every time I hear that they're making another Minions movie.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
In this installment, Gru and his lovable assistants, the Minions, are looking to join a new supervillain squad, and it doesn't matter. The story doesn't matter. The story of this movie doesn't matter. The story to this movie makes the story from the first Minions movie look like Shakespeare. This movie is just a vehicle to have the Minions do silly things, speak a lot of gibberish, and then a song plays and you see one of their butts. Wash, rinse, repeat. There's a formula to this movie, and the formula is, who cares? Yes, Gru wants to join a supervillain team, and the Minions are trying to recover a Zodiac amulet. At one point, they fly a plane. There's some fighting involved and a bunch of other supervillains, but it doesn't matter. Nothing in this Minions franchise really matters except for making your aunt laugh, selling plushies, box office, and theme park rides, in that order. And even before this movie came out, people were sending me messages and tweets and saying, Dan, why are you even bothering to review this movie? Because you hate the Minions. You've hated them in every movie that you've ever seen. I really did think that the first Minions movie was like a crime, like a prosecutable crime. So why would I bother to review this movie at all? Well, first of all, I don't think that critics should just review movies that they think they're going to like. I think that critics have somewhat of a responsibility to take in the whole of what's available cinematically, and sometimes it's Minions, sometimes it's Everything Everywhere All at Once. Plus, if I were to exclude movies that I didn't think that I would like, then that would preclude the possibility that something might surprise me. You take a movie like Bumblebee. Bumblebee was part of a franchise other than the first Transformers film, absolutely loathed every other movie. And yet I went to see Bumblebee and actually ended up liking that movie. So if I start not seeing things that I don't think I'm going to enjoy, then I also am potentially losing out on a big surprise. But there are no surprises in this film. This movie is exactly what you think it's going to be. If the Minions make you laugh, then you're going to laugh in this movie, I think. If you loathe the Minions, then this is going to be the longest 87 minutes of your life. Although there was one scene early in the film, because I've been very outspoken about how much I don't enjoy the Minions. Young Gru and the Minions clear out a movie theater that's playing my favorite movie, Jaws, with a fake fart bomb. And it did feel a little bit like a personal attack. It was like Minions was targeting me individually. And I know that they weren't. I'm pretty sure that they weren't. But I had to remind myself that none of this is personal to any critic or the audience in general. It's all part of the formula, and why would they change the formula? The last Minions movie made $1 billion. Literally, $1 billion. People love the Minions. They show up, they talk gibberish for the entire movie. Like, literally, over half of this movie, I'm pretty sure, is not in English. I think if they wanted to, they could submit this movie as the best international film because over 50% is not in the English language. Of course, the next thing you would ask is, Dan, what country would this represent? Because you can't represent an American film for best international film. And the answer would be hell. Now, one observation, and this is a very limited observation, in the theater that I saw this film in, it was about half full, maybe a little bit more, mostly kids, and the film played pretty quietly. I didn't hear a lot of laughs. Now, it could just be that the children were entranced by the magic of cinema, or it could be that the magic is leaving this franchise. I really don't know, because the magic never really worked on me in the first place. And listen, I'm not here to tell you that the Minions are bad and that you shouldn't like them, because that is a personal choice. I do have to share my own personal thoughts and opinions here, because I think that's what my role is as a critic. And so I can only say that I think that the Minions are absolutely insufferable. And this movie didn't really do anything to change that impression. And this is one of those things where sometimes there's something that's popular that I'm not really a big fan of, and I'm like, I get it. But Minions is one of those things that I don't understand. Like, what's the bit? What's the bit that's happening with these Minions that people love so much? Is it that you can't understand them? The fact that they speak their own language? Like, is that the joke? Because it's kind of treated as the joke. I can only imagine that there's rooms full of writers at Pixar who spend years knocking out every story point for every Pixar movie that just rip their hair out at these films, because I honestly don't get the appeal. And I'm not really carrying over my negative feelings from the other movies in this franchise. It's just that this movie is the exact same as every other movie in this franchise. So I feel the same about this movie as I did about the first Minions movie when it came out in 2015. It's remarkably consistent. It's hellishly consistent for me, perhaps remarkably consistent for you. This movie does do a couple things that change it up. I mean, they're really like Looney Tunes cartoons. You have these little short vignettes and little pieces. At one point, the Minions learn martial arts from a character voiced by Michelle Yeoh, who's apparently trying to even out her year after Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Doubt tells me I cannot break this wood. But doubt exists only in the mind.
So that, kind of happens, but then you go on to the next thing. I mean, it really is just a cycle. The Minions jabber for a while, they hit each other in the face and maybe knock some things over. One of them farts, and then a pop song plays. Honestly, I think to say that it plays to the lowest common denominator is an insult to math. But people do love these movies, and many of these people are children, and it's not my job to sit here and pass judgment and say that you have good taste or bad taste. I can only just say that it is completely different from my sensibilities. I'd hope this movie maybe might try something new, maybe endear the Minions to me somehow, because that's the other thing. I didn't want another 90 minutes of the same Minion stuff again. That sounded hellish and was. I was desperately hoping that there would be some sort of a new level or an extra layer to this thing, or something that would make me turn around and say, like, those old Minions movies weren't my thing, but gosh darn it, that one really turned it around. Sadly, that's not what happened with this movie, so I can't personally recommend it, but the one thing that I can say is that almost more than any other movie I could think of, you get exactly what you pay for with this movie, and you're going to know exactly what you're getting into going in. So parents, if you have kids who love the Minions and you hate them, I hate to tell you, but you're about to be enlisted in another round. If you love the Minions, congratulations. There's a whole new 87-minute adventure to delight and entertain you. It did neither for me, but I'm happy for you. So those are my thoughts on Minions: The Rise of Gru, one of the 7 signs of my own personal apocalypse. What did you think of the movie? Are you excited to go see it over this Independence Day weekend here in the United States? Will you be seeing it elsewhere in the world? I hear that they translate these movies for some reason to different languages. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching me here on the channel. If you want to see even more of what I'm up to, you can check me out on Patreon at patreon.com/Dan Murrell. And stay tuned, because probably tomorrow morning, I will have my recap and review of the 2nd volume of Stranger Things 4, which is just hitting streaming today as we're uploading this video. So stay tuned for that. Of course, Charts with Dan next week. We'll talk about the box office, and I'm sure what will be a personally discouraging amount of money that Minions: The Rise of Gru made, and so much more. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the Minions if you like them. There's so many other things going on in this world. God bless them. Those little yellow bastards are entertaining to some people. If not, plenty of other options out there. Go see Top Gun Maverick again, although Minions probably has all the IMAX screens, so, I don't know. Go see it in 4DX or something. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you then. Bye.
No!